Need for Speed 2014. I saw this action crime film in the cinema when it was first released in March, the end of March 2014. And I remember that day in particular simply because I had a problem with my photo card on my Cinema Unlimited card. There's a new member of staff who didn't accept my photo, and it was an old photo. I got it when I first got Unlimited 10.5 years earlier, and it was still the same. And um, they went to the manager who cut the card, so it involved so much hassle getting a replacement, but it also delayed me. The annoying thing is it delayed me into the actual screening, so I missed the start, and it was, pointless simply because it was valid. It was just new member of staff who didn't realise, I guess. I mean, trained. I could have just asked for other ID, I guess. I mean, now um, it tends to be all digital, so it's not the same as when it was a physical card. But well, anyway, so I missed the start and I had to see it again later. So I've seen the film twice. It's about car racing, in essence, and it's sort of romance, and there's quite a bit of crime in it. Although it's very strange because it's stylized, and it's like a illegal car race across the USA, and it's a sort of revenge type of film because someone dies early on, and they somehow frame um, the protagonist, um, and in the end, he gets revenge, and it. So there's a lot of plain dirty between the characters. It's very strongly goodies and baddies, and so I suppose it gets the emotional juices going, and it's just some bits I think are a bit, I don't, it's implausible. I mean, car films often are because the type of stunts that are played out just wouldn't work on public roads. And um, the only police action in this film appears right at the end. It's like, well, where were the police all the way through the early parts of the film? Um, I mean, I guess must have been police at one point where a death occurs, but then it's framed against a particular person. So I don't know. It feels like um, when I first saw it, I got tied up in the details, and I didn't particularly like some aspects of it, but the film still stayed with me enough that I watched it again. And um, I suppose it's a bit like the Fast and Furious sh series. There's stuff I really don't like. There's quite a bit of misogyny, I guess, or it's sort of like very. Um, there's narratives from the men's point of view, even though actually the sort of love interest, I guess you could say, Julia Madden, played by Imogen Poots, she um, convinces the protagonist, Toby Marshall, played by Aaron Paul, that she is as good as him, or she kind of like, I mean, she's his match. I guess that's what it is. I mean, she knows all the technical stuff. There's all that sort of thing. So it does try to balance some of the inherent sexism that often happens in car films, and I guess it's trying to appeal to both men and women by doing this, and some of it kind of works and some of it definitely doesn't work. I mean, there's one scene where one of the, um not the team, Toby's sort of allies, um, he quits his job and he sort of walks out of the office, he strips and he's sort of like he slaps a woman on her, it's kind of all, oh gosh, well, what's all this about? Why do they need to do this? I mean, it appeals to certain men, I guess, and yeah, it isn't a really, I think it is gonna alienate quite a lot of women and other, anyone who doesn't feel it's necessary, that sort of stuff. But there's a lot, I mean, that's one or two scenes in it, which I find a bit objectionable. There's also a scene early on, where a homeless or unhoused man gets in the way of this illegal race, and I mean, there's scenes like that, and I think, that's a bit problematic. I mean, it's almost like I kind of see what they're trying to do, but it's almost like it's not regarding them very well, the people who are brought in as, devices. I mean, they kind of think of ways to make the story appealing, and it kind of works and it doesn't work. Anyway, this, most of it is a kind of, well, I'd say fantasy race across, the USA. It starts in a place called Mount Kisco, which is an actual place in New York City, no, New York State, upstate New York. It's sort of like way out. It's a town. I looked it up. It's a town of about 10,000 people, and that there's all this rivalry between Toby Marshall, who's a mechanic and he's very into a particular type of car. And then there's Dino Brewster, played by Dominic Cooper, and he's like the antagonist, the baddie who um, plays dirty more and more as the film goes on. I mean, there's like, um, I guess there's a lot of money and money talks, as we found out quite a lot in modern politics, but even back in, you know, in a relatively um, easier time, let's say, or simpler time. Um, there's there's a sort of bounty where anyone can come out. It's a bit like the John Wicks type films, a bounty's put out and, this maverick radio presenter or podcaster, um, you know, talks about the race and, in, he's not he's a bit of an adversary to Toby, but he's sort of doing it mainly as a commentary, as there's a kind of not a voiceover, but he's sort of, helping link the different bits of the narrative together. Um, Now the team who support, Toby include, there's like Finn, he's like, a computer expert, he's like the tech, um, hacks into camera systems, CCTV, to check on traffic and find ways to help cross country. There's, oh gosh, there's other mechanics. There's, Joe Beastie, Peck, there's Sergeant Benny Maverick Jackson, who's in the army, and at one point he ends up I won't say what happens to him, uh, but he borrows a military, like, helicopter or something, or some aircraft um to pull off a stunt in the, Grand Canyon. One thing I like about it is it's, the spectacle. Places like the Grand Canyon, it's really good for travelogue style films, and to sort of see it visually in the cinema where a car is just like, traveling in the air, when it's being chased, and then they use, uh, an aircraft to help rescue them, then, is it I kind of like the fantasy even though it's implausible, and, later on, this guy, he sweet talks someone else into allowing him to watch the, live stream coverage of the race, and it just goes up to California, it goes to some remote location. It goes through cities and, it's kind of fun at times. Um, yeah, Dakota Johnson's in this film. She plays, um, Anita, who's like, Toby's former girlfriend, but, now on the other side, I think, like, Dino's fiancée, so someone who's crossed over. So there's there's a lot of interesting characters, both characters and the actors who play them, and, um, if you can, suspend your disbelief as much as a car that's been carried over the the chasm that is in the Grand Canyon, and various other sort of trick moves all the way through this, drive, across the US. I like road trips. I suppose that's why I like this film. Um, the character development, is kinda sweet. It's very, there's nothing LGBTQIA plus about this film as far as I, um, could can think of. Um, so it's very much straight romance, like, Toby and, Julia, and then the other stuff. That's a bit fiery, it goes on and off, and it's almost like, well, I don't know, it's okay. Now, school-wise, I was thinking there's certain things that bring the score down because of, lack of plausibility, but I feel it deserves slightly higher than my halfway 7.5, so I'm gonna give it 7.75 out of 10. I think it is, a pretty enjoyable film, as long as you don't, you let things, you take it for what it is. It's, over a decade old now, and it's certainly pretty flawed. But Michael Keaton's pretty good actor, and all the acting. All the sort of, my views of America have changed quite a bit, and more in a way. To some extent, I at that time in 2014, I went on holiday to the US back then. I was, at this point, I was, looking forward to, going on holiday later in the year, and, I like that sort of, um, seeing places like California, and I imagine myself, traveling across the US, at that time, not obviously in a car like this. I mean, these all, there's a homage to a particular, um, racing, the mechanics or the people who make particular cars. I can't remember, is it Mustang? It's particular, I mean, the sort of it really probably does appeal to petrol heads and probably not to me because I forgot all that kind of detail. So, but, um, they sort of look back, also on, uh, the kind of people who, uh, who developed racing cars in, say, the '50s. So there's sort of a nod back to the past as well. Um, and that probably appeals to some people. I'm surmising because, you know, I'm I've not really explored that much about, cars, and I don't really, you know, I I don't drive, and I only really, I mean, my sister used to really like cars. She'd be able to spot cars and understand them and know their history. So, she was a little bit like, well, not obviously as, in the know as, Julia, Imogen Poots' character, but she was a lot more into cars. Um, so, um, yeah, 7.75 is my score. I'd love to know what you think. If you've seen this film, um, thanks for watching. Please like if you like this review. Thanks for subscribing. Please hit the notification button. Please leave a comment. And hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.